Today I'm going to share with you quick Easter DIYs made from Dollar Tree supplies and thrift items. Welcome to my channel, Freckled Mom DIY. I'm Devin. If you're new, welcome. And if you're returning, hey! This is an open challenge, Try It Tuesday, hosted by my friend Sammy. And of course, I chose her Easter DIYs to recreate. So let's hop right into these DIYs. For this adorable project, I have a colander from the thrift store for $4.99 and a little bird and some foam eggs and some Spanish moss. So first I'm going to start by revamping this bird. So I wanted to make it look like a little more cement-like, if that makes sense. So I'm doing a mixture of a couple different colors here, but I'm just really blotting it with a stencil brush, and that's to give it like that mottled kind of stippled look. So I am going through with my ivory, and then I am going to go back and forth between ivory and plaster and cashew, and that's just really to give it that rock kind of look. And I think this is really pretty when you're doing cottage DIYs, because it just gives it that extra texture. So here is my Waverly antique wax, and I'm going through and I'm doing a couple different things. I'm kind of blotting it to make it look like chunks of dirt are on it, but then I am going to go through and do a quick dry brushing all around that bird to bring out that extra detail. And then I just use a little extra plaster if it's too dark. So here is my bright yellow. I'm mixing it with my ivory, and I'm going to keep mixing it until I get the right color, and I'm looking for like a pale muted yellow. So here I am painting this colander. Now you can see what Sammy's looks like, and of course I do want to recreate it, but I do want to put my own spin on it. And I love these colanders. I think they are so pretty. So I am going through and I am giving it 2 good coats in that yellow. Now some parts I didn't get a good coverage, which is okay because you're going to see that we are distressing it a little bit. So I was trying to add this gold around the rim, but this gold marker was not doing it. It just wasn't bright enough for what I wanted. So I went through with my folk art gold, and I just go around and I am going all around the rim of this as well as the handles, which you're going to see, but I thought it would give it like this 70s vintage retro kind of feel. And so I remember from my childhood a lot of items that were this kind of cast iron with like a beige and a gold to it. So that's what I was trying to recreate here, and that's what I thought when I first saw Sammy's piece. So now I'm going through with this antique wax again, and I'm just doing a couple different things, trying to make it look distressed and old and dirty. And then I just go over it with a little bit of plaster if I overdid it a little bit. So here are some floral foam blocks I'm hot gluing right into the colander. And now I have this box filler, and I'm just using this to fill up some of the space because I have a lot of it. And then I'm going through with my Spanish moss after that, and we're going to start building this little bit of a nest here. So this is kind of being formed and squished together, and then I'm throwing that bird in, and we're just going to make our own little version of this with our bird and a few other items here. So you're gonna see I am just filling it up with the leftover Spanish moss, and we are going to make a little bird's nest with some green moss, which this is definitely like what a bird would do. You know, they just take little pieces here and there. Here is some potpourri, but I love the color, so I just threw in a couple of pieces of this. Again, just to make it look a little more whimsical, a little more, you know, realistic with like how a bird would make their nest. Then I have these little eggs. I got these at Michael's on sale, and they're just little decoration fillers. And then I have these baby's breath here just to fill it in and make, you know, a little something here. I think this came out so sweet, and I am just so in love with this. If you remember what Sammy's look like, it is a little different, but you see where I was recreating the idea, and I am just so in love with hers, but I love how mine came out. As I mentioned, this is an open challenge, Try It Tuesday, where we are to recreate home decor from our inspirations, hosted by Unicorn Dust Designs. If you don't know Sammy, you need to. She is super sweet and her DIYs are always amazing. I will post the link to her channel as well as the playlist down in my description. So let's jump back into these DIYs. Here is another very quick thrift flip. Here are a candlestick and some foam eggs, and those little chicks were from Hobby Lobby. So I have these little chicks that I got, and I think it was $4.99 for 3 of them, which isn't too bad, and they are very adorable. So here I'm doing that same idea where I am mixing between the ivory and the plaster, and I am just giving it that stone look. Again, there are a lot of different ways people do this. This is just how I do it. I like to do this stippling kind of effect because I feel like it is very thick when you're using the chalk paint. And then I still go through with that antique wax again because I do want to keep with that cottage feel, that vintage kind of feel. So I am using my stencil brush as well as a dry brush and just giving it all that extra detail that you wouldn't have seen if you just kept it white. So I think this is really cute, and I just think it goes with that like natural cottage feel. So here is that candlestick I've had for quite a while, and I'm just giving it one good coat of my moss from Waverly. Now you could scruff it up a little bit here, but I wanted to go and do that cement kind of feel again. So as you can see, Sammy's is a different color, but I love the feeling of it with that farmhouse cottage feel, and I really love this moss color. So now I am making that cement kind of look again, and I'm doing the same thing. I just have that same moss color, and I'm just stamping it with my little stencil brush to give it that mottled, textured look. So this part did take a little longer because I was going through and doing the stippling up and down this whole candlestick. So if you're going to do this, maybe throw on a movie or meditate, but it does take a little time when you're doing this effect. And here I'm just using my antique wax just to give it that little vintage feel that we're going for. And I think this is really pretty how it's coming out. Sammy did use a couple different techniques, but her video is linked down in my description so you can see how she did her candlesticks. Now I did paint this top just because I wanted to paint the top. I don't know, I thought I had a different idea, but it's okay. So here we are going to make a little nest, and I'm just forming it the way I feel like it would look like a nest, but then I needed a little more. So I have paper towels here, and I'm just kind of making like a base for it so that way I can pick this nest up and carry it and transpose it, you know, to different DIYs depending on where I want it. So I want it to be a useful nest that I could reuse again maybe for this year or next year. So I'm just adding some hot glue and trying to use up all the Spanish moss before I open a new pack up. And I'm using more of that potpourri, which again is just to add that realistic feel to it. So I'm just hot gluing my little chick here, and this egg I have shown you guys in the past, but I am going to show you again at the end of this video, so stay tuned. I just clean it up a little bit with some scissors, and I have some flowers here, and these flowers I got off of a little sprig from Michael's. I think it is very pretty and has that dainty cottage feel to it. So I'm just trimming it down so that way it'll fit inside of my little nest here. I think this is so sweet, and again, very different from Sammy's, but still has that same idea. So you don't have to recreate others' projects perfectly. You can throw your own spin on it, and that is why I love this playlist. So you can see I just stuck it right on the top here. It fits perfect and it's adorable. I just think this is so sweet. I love how sweet it is with my cottage feel and that little vintage feel. So let me know down in the comments what you think. If you're new or coming over from the playlist, welcome. Here on Freckled Mom DIY, we do home improvement, Dollar Tree crafts, DIY, gifts and decor, thrift flipping, and more as we renovate our 1925-year-old New England cottage. If you like these kinds of videos, go ahead and subscribe. To all my current Freckled fam, thank you. You can also find me on Instagram as Freckled Mom. We are almost done. We have another project, so stay tuned for that and the final reveal. This little guy is so sweet and easy. This is a strainer from the Dollar Tree, and I have those little eggs again that I got from Michael's and those little chicks from Hobby Lobby and some foam eggs here. So I have a mixture of my Spanish moss and that box filler. So first I am going to add some twine to this handle. So you can see here in Sammy's how she has hers. We're going to recreate that but using our own spin here. You could use rope or twine or maybe some kind of fabric. It's really just to cover up that plastic handle so you don't know it's a Dollar Tree strainer. So up at the top here, I'm just going as close as I can, and then I'm hot gluing it and trying to just kind of make it look a little more finished, if that makes sense, which I end up covering it up after, which you'll see. So here is just a little hot glue, and I'm just wrapping that twine around. I had another idea, but like I said, I'm just going to cover this part up anyways, so you can cover the handle however you want if you're going to be adding other stuff. So here I have a thinner paintbrush and I'm going through with my plaster and I'm giving it a nice thick coat, and I did try to stay with just one coat but it really didn't do it, so I had to do 2 coats. Looking back, if I did a layer of Mod Podge and then my thick Waverly chalk paint, I think 1 coat would have been fine. Now this is just some ribbon I got at Walmart on clearance, and I'm just adding it to the end, and I think it just gives it that cottage feel again, but again, you could do whatever you wanted. And then I do take my dry brush and I go through and I paint all of the mesh to look like it would have been white. And I just think it's, I don't know, a little simpler than having that dark color. So I'm doing another nest here, and I am not the best at making nests. I just kind of put my fingers into the center and just keep spinning around in like a little circle. So I am going to put a little bit of hot glue down, and this is just going to keep the nest from falling out because we're going to style it standing up. And then I have a bunch of the chicks that we had done already with the little stone look. I hot glue those in, and then I have that mixture of the potpourri and the little eggs for decoration. And I just think it's so sweet how they all came out. I want it to be very simple and just like with that very nice neutral feel. And I think it came out just perfect. And don't forget what Sammy's looked like. I am just so in love with all of Sammy's pieces today that I had to recreate them. And I am just so happy with these little eggs. I shared with you guys last week and how you can use some Mod Podge and some foam eggs. So this is Tim Holtz paper. I buy this off of Amazon. It is very close to tissue paper, just a little different, but it's very thin. So you just put the Mod Podge on your foam egg or on whatever surface you're using, and then very gently just wrap that paper on there. And then wherever it is dry, put a little more Mod Podge, and then you can start working with your fingers. So if it's a flat object, it's a little different, but the round one, you just want to keep going back and forth. So between Mod Podge, your fingers, smoothing it out, more Mod Podge, your fingers. You just keep going until the whole egg is covered the way you want it. Any spots that are bare, you can just take a little piece of paper and rip it and just add it wherever you feel like you need it. So this is something that is just, I love doing these eggs like this. I think it is very pretty, very cottagey, garden, farmhouse, the style I have been trying to stick with all this spring so far. I think it is very, very sweet, and you can do this, like I said, to anything. So I'm just going to make a couple of these eggs up, and then we are pretty much done, guys. So stay tuned for that final reveal. Thank you for watching. I hope you are inspired to make some quick Easter DIYs. A big thank you goes to Sammy for hosting this challenge every month. Don't forget the link to the playlist as well as her channel and all the supplies I used in this video are down in my description. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. When you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time I post a new video. I have a lot coming up, as well as a new Room by Room, which is my monthly recurring playlist, and you can find that on April 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are a content creator, I would love to have you join us. You can also find me on Instagram as Freckled Mom, where I share daily inspiration as well as upcoming projects and project ideas. I am a designer for Club Couture, so if you are looking for any new products, please reach out to me. Keep crafting and have a wonderful day.